Super Rugby Pacific, folks, and I think I chose the best game to watch this round. Some of the games, for whatever reason, largely some lopsided scorelines, have been maybe not the most kind of edge of your seat finishes, but geez, the Rebels and the Reds. I think the lead changed 5 times in this game. If you haven't seen the highlights, it's well worth going and have a look. The game itself was crazy. If you get a chance to watch the whole thing, there's some entertainment there. But anyway, we'll go through the key event stats. You guys can let us know your thoughts. No score for the first 8 minutes. Pretty tentative. First try comes through the Reds. They start after the first 10 minutes. Pretty bloody nicely, man. Josh Fluke continues his try scoring run. Jock Campbell with a nice inside ball for him. He's got some wheels. 7-0. 5 minutes later, Pataya gets on the board. 8 phases, great carries from, some Wallabies boys and Paisami, Wilson, McCright, and then Pataya finishing it off. So 14 points to nil. You're thinking, geez, these Rebels. Like, the Rebels have looked pretty good in patches this season. But you're thinking, man, how well can they chase down this Red side? Well, apparently pretty well. From that Pataya try, they hit back pretty much immediately. Lawrence finishes it off. But it was Ely's grubber through for Ioane, and then his offload, which kind of set that up. So they immediately hit back, which is pleasing because, like I said, 14-0 down after 15 minutes, not a good look when you're at home or anytime, really. But, and then happily for the Reds, their forwards seem to have a bit of grunt about them this year, eh? I'll be keen to see how they go across the course of the season, but some really nice carries from the Rebels forwards. And then, Kemeny able to finish off their second one. So, 14 points apiece. I hope I said Rebels forwards earlier, not Reds forwards. I get these two teams mixed up when it's 25 minutes to midnight. But anyway, good work from the Rebels forwards to really, as I said, show a bit of oomph. And we're 14 points apiece. The game's properly on. I thought the Rebels had blown a try not long later, because they had all the momentum. I thought, geez, they've busted one here because Carter Gordon had a great wee carrier step. He had a wee line break. He set up Monty Ioane, and I felt like Monty just needed to pass, but he got a bit of white line fever. Tries to go for a try, and the Rebels were stopped. So I thought, man, the Reds are going to turn them over, but they didn't. They still got the try anyway. It came through a bunch of phases. They had to work for it, but it still finished it off. So that one was through Gibbon. It's good to see the forwards get the rewards at 21 points to 14. From 14-0 down at home as well. The crowd's well getting into the game. Then 38 minutes, the Rebels try scoring just continued, man. Literally from 14-0 down to 28-14. It's Ikwasi who finishes that one off. The passing from the Rebels guys and the big fend to finish it off. Thing of beauty stuff. This game was on fire. Absolutely beautiful. Really good rugby on display. Possession 55-45 to the Rebels. They've also had more territory, more clean breaks, 7-2. And more run meters, 402 to 254. So barring that initial period where that maybe 10, not even 10 minute period where the Reds scored those 2 tries, the Rebels have probably been the better of the 2 teams. Second half, it's like, man, we need to see some more from the Reds. What have they said at halftime? Or whatever they said, it worked because Kalani Thomas put a nice kick through for Pataya. And you feel like one of the Rebels had to get it, surely. But Pataya, man, easy as you like. He has so much time on it. He gets that one, so they needed more. That was 26-19, but they got more, man. They got another one. 50 minutes, it's a line-out maul. The maul goes close, and then Smith peels off, goes over for the try, and then Gibbon kind of hits him a bit late. A bit of a dirty shot. Don't need to do it. He's already scored. Just leave him alone, and they decide to start the game from the restart with a penalty. So a bit of a kind of dumb stuff from Gibbon there, but it's 26-24, man. Back to being absolute game on. And then the Rebels concede another one. So the Reds go in front. I wrote, they're on fire. I mean, I literally wrote whatever the halftime team talk must have said was worked because, I mean, James O'Connor with a carry, Harry Wilson with an offload, Josh Fluke in the corner. Goodness gracious me. There's tries for days in this game. So 31-26. Where is this game going to go? The Rebels have just conceded 3 tries. Well, the Rebels decide that they're going to score some tries. Now, when's the Fluke try? 54? The next one's 57. Pincus's one. pretty much maybe you can give a couple of these tries for not being able to kind of handle restarts that well, to be honest. And I think maybe the Reds are a little bit guilty of that one. That one was Ioane with a nice carry and an inside pass to Pincus. So the Rebels back in front with a good conversion, 33-31. Then the Reds go back in front 10 minutes later with a penalty. So like I said, the lead changed at least 5 times. And probably could have been more if they'd given a couple of tries at the end, which were kind of chalked off. Petaya's exit kick from the penalty that put the Reds in front was not great. And that gave the Rebels some decent field position. They go through 9 phases. They take the lead back. That one's through Angelo Smith. So it's 40 points to 34. The tries just keep coming. The Rebels look to have just put the kind of final nail in the coffin when they had an intercept on 69 minutes. But that one was chalked off for a knock on the build-up. And then the Reds had one chalked off 5 minutes later when Tate McDermott had sniped with very little blindside, but he'd sniped and gone over for a try, which would have set up a conversion to put the Reds in front. But the TMO ruled that Ryan Smith was holding the Rebels player back. It was Kemeny he was holding. And the commentary team hated that call, barring Sean Maloney. The commentary team was certain that was going to be given, but Sean Maloney was pretty convinced it wasn't going to be given, and Sean Maloney was right. I think Ryan Smith dumb, man. Why do that? You're putting yourself in the referee's hands. Why give the referee a chance to make a decision? Because Kemeny was never going to get there. Why bother? You put yourself in the ref's hands, sometimes you're going to get burned, man. More often than not, they're going to opt for the strict call, right? It's like someone getting a speeding ticket and they're like, oh, I was only doing 6 kilometers over the limit. If that's what they're enforcing, then don't, if you're over the limit, you're over the limit, right? If you put your hand on a guy and hold him back, even if he wasn't going to get there, you still got a chance of getting pinged. So, yeah. Blowing chance for the Reds. But they still had a bit of fight in them. They went 19 phases before this weird moment where just after 19 phases, just they passed it, nobody caught the ball. And they all just stood around and waited for the Rebels to catch it. And the Rebels tried to boot it out, but they couldn't find touch. And then there was a double knock on. So the game finished with absolute helter-skelter. But man, it was a crazy game. Heaps of tries, heaps of lead changes, some skill ones as well. My kind of game. My kind of game. So, happy days. Run meters, 661 to 502. The Rebels edge that. Clean breaks, 9 to 4. Rebels. Kicks from hand, 21-17. Reds. Reds also control the territory. Rebels edge the possession. So, yeah, a bit of a split between the sides. Tackling percentage will be concerning for the Reds. 77%, real bad. 88% for the Rebels. Pretty bloody good. Monty Ioane, 151 meters. 3 clean breaks, 3 defenders beaten. Not bad. 2 tackles made, 1 missed. Petaya, 40 metres made, 4 defenders beaten from him. Brad Wilkin, 24 from 24 tackles. Ryan Smith, 12 from 13 tackles. But there you go. The Reds are at home to the Crusaders. That suddenly becomes a pretty important game, but that's a pretty tough team coming to town. And the Rebels are off to Fiji, I believe. That's going to be special because those crowds are just something else. So, yeah. You guys let us know your thoughts on the game. I was happy to watch that one. And, yeah, you guys have any thoughts? Talk to you again soon.